Good morning, everyone. Scott Maybor here with your Medicare Missive from the pond for Monday, the 27th of July. Can't believe this is the last week of July already. Hope you had a nice weekend. Hope you're enjoying your summer. Today, I just wanted to talk about, it's kind of a bummer, um, planning. And you don't know when you're going to need it. And this applies to health insurance, it applies to life insurance, it applies to long-term care insurance. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I was in Manchester. I stopped into a place for lunch, held the door for a woman, probably about my age, in her mid to late 50s. I sat down at one end of the bar, she was at the other, and it was quiet. Bartender goes over to her and says, "Oh, I'm so glad you came in. I haven't seen you in a while. I was so sorry to hear about your loss." The woman that I held the door for starts crying. She said, I can't believe she's gone. I lost my best friend. As they're talking and I'm overhearing the conversation, this woman had a heart attack at 56, instantly gone. I have a friend whose spouse, right around the same age, maybe a few years older, talked to his wife. She was on a business trip, talked to his wife at about 7 o'clock in the evening. How's the trip going? Blah, blah, blah. 7:30 gets a call from the teenage son who was in high school or just graduated. Dead. Dad passed out in the bedroom. Called 911. He's dead. So not to be a complete bummer, but you have to plan. It applies to Medicare because it is your health insurance, and what's true today may not be true tomorrow. And having the proper health insurance in place prevents surprises, and ensures that you get the care you need at prices you can afford or prices that you want to pay. From a life insurance perspective, it's almost never too late to buy a policy. Do you need a policy? I don't know. That's a discussion. You may need a policy just to pay for a funeral so the kids don't have to dig into their pockets to pay for it. You may have assets to pay for stuff, but you may want to leave your kids or grandchildren or your church or your alma mater or whatever the organization is you want to give money to in a better place. I mean, you can buy a policy because you happen to like your church or WGBH or the college you graduated from and you want to endow a chair or make a big donation. You can do that with life insurance, and you could do $1 million policy and not spend $1 million. Just buy a policy, and when you pass away, they get the million. They're just named as beneficiary. And you could do that with your grandchildren or your children's children. And if you don't want to leave them a whole lump sum of money, you don't think they would handle it well, create a trust. The life insurance policy funds the trust and the trustee dole out the money. Maybe it's for college expenses, maybe it's a stipend of X dollars per year. If you have 5 grandchildren, they each get $250, but if it's invested well and you're giving them 30, 40, 50 grand a year, that could last many, many more years than 5 years. So all things to consider. And then long-term care is kind of the biggest one, in the sense of you don't know when it's going to happen. It can happen sooner rather than later, and it has a huge impact. Death is kind of death. You die, you get mourned. There's no further expenses beyond the funeral. Long-term care is a long-term care situation where you have expenses, you have stress, you have all kinds of impact on the family, the caregiver, your assets. And again, you don't know when it's going to happen. I don't remember the percentage off the top of my head, but a very large percentage of long-term care cases happen to people under 60 years old. These are mostly accidents, slip and falls, car accidents, skiing accidents, pickleball accidents, whatever the issue. If you need long-term care, it's there for you, and it doesn't have to be a permanent situation. It could be, you broke your leg or ankle or something playing pickleball. You need help getting around your house because your bathroom's upstairs. Could be, you hurt your, broke your leg skiing, whatever the situation, you have a long-term care policy so that your spouse or children don't have to do the work. They can be there to support you emotionally, you can support them emotionally, and you're paying a professional caregiver with money from the insurance company. So just a little heads up. I mean, this woman sounded like she passed away at 56 suddenly due to a heart attack. Her friend obviously was devastated. She was crying that she lost her best friend. I would imagine the woman's family is also devastated. Nobody expects to lose somebody suddenly like that, but it does happen, and it's your responsibility to be prepared so that your loved ones don't bear the burden. I mean, you don't have money for a funeral, somebody's got to pay for it. Even if it's simple and you just get cremated, there's still cost involved, and they're going to throw it on their credit cards. Is that fair to them? Because you didn't take the responsibility to deal with it. Sorry to be a bummer today. Let me know if you have any thoughts, comments. Thanks for watching. Please like and share, and have a great day, everyone. Sorry to be a bummer.